Remember, this show is available on both YouTube and Spotify. And before we begin, a word from our sponsors. This podcast is powered by the Mitt TV of Romeo, Michigan. If you're looking to start a podcast for your business or personal use, look no further than the Mitt TV. They can get you access to equipment, a production engineer, and even edit your podcast. That's all right here at the Mitt TV of Romeo. And you can contact them right now via email at mitt.tvromeo@gmail.com. That's mitt.tv@gmail.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, today on the Romeo Sports Recap, we're with girls varsity head soccer coach Trevor Foster, the Romeo varsity girls. And Trevor, I got to tell you, you guys have a great team, really are doing well this year. Tell us a little bit about your coaching philosophy and how you like to approach the team with your philosophy.
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I've been coaching high school soccer since 2012, and every year I personally try to evolve a little bit, reflect after each season, see what we can do better. So my philosophy isn't one that's been the same since 2012. Like I said, we're always trying to get better, always trying to evolve. This past season, we took actually a big step, I think, in a forward direction as far as my philosophy is concerned. Coaching girls and boys high school since 2012, I've had a lot of great mentors, gone to a lot of different coaching seminars, events. And one thing coaches always talked about was how different it is to coach boys and girls and what the differences are between the boys and the girls. And it's something that
What? There's a difference between boys and girls?
I know, right?
Shocker.
It's funny the way those conversations go, and usually they end in coaches agreeing that you have to be a little bit more delicate, a little bit softer when it comes to coaching girls. And through mentorship and, like I said, these seminars and talking to coaches who have been in the business longer than me, that was kind of always the sticking point between the difference of the two. How it's harder to get girls hyped up in the locker room before the game, do the things like, you think about the football movies and whatnot, where the coach is giving the speech, slamming lockers, all that stuff. That isn't something that you see a lot, I feel, in the girls' game, and that's something that we tried to change this season. So we set expectations early. I came across a book, The Things My Coach Never Told Me Because I'm a Girl. And we kind of made it mandatory for every girl in the program to read that book, whether it was audio or a physical copy. And it kind of goes over like the intensity needed and why there shouldn't be a difference in the way we coach girls and the way we coach boys. And that's one expectation we set early this season. And we think that helped us a lot early this season, kind of upping our intensity, whether it was pre-game, post-game, or anywhere in between. We were able to just get a little more rowdy, get a little more intense. And I made the commitment myself and our coaching staff to not coach these girls differently than we would coach boys. And I think that was a huge part of our success early in the season.
Well, what would you like the girls to take away from their experience with the Romeo varsity soccer program?
The biggest thing I want them to look back on and think like Romeo soccer was a can't miss experience. Like they had the best times of their lives, whether they were winning, losing, or drawing, from when they were freshmen to seniors. And we just really want it to be an experience that they tell other people in their family, community, that Romeo soccer is a can't miss experience. We didn't win every game, we didn't lose every game, but we still had the time of our lives in it. And that's kind of what we really want them to take away.
Okay, well, let's dive into the season. As of the 30th of April, you guys are ranked 10th in the state by the MHSAA, which is pretty good. And you've had a little speed bump since then, but you're still highly ranked in the state. And you started the season off with like 9 games where you shut your opponents out, and you won 5 and tied 4. Talk a little bit about what that meant to have that kind of start.
Yeah, it was an extremely hot start. At one point, I think we were 17 goals for, 0 against, like you said, through about 9 games. And that brings a certain air of confidence to a team. It certainly is fun as far as experiencing it when you have something else on the line. We came up with something called Mission Zero after we went about 3 games where we were going to go. Our mission was to go as far as possible without giving up a goal. And at that point in the season, actually all 3 of our teams, varsity, JV-A, and JV-B, had not given up a goal 7 to 9 games into the season. So that was a program-wide thing. Mission Zero, we said the last team to give up a goal would get T-shirts that said Mission Zero across them. So it added that extra little layer of motivation to every team and kind of an inter-program competition going on. We were all obviously hoping no one was going to give up goals and we would all get T-shirts. But kind of at the same time, we all, around the 9th or 10th game, ended up giving one up. So we'll have to figure out exactly how that's going to work out.
Well, you then hit a game in Rochester where you guys lost 1-0. Was a close game. A couple of breaks could have been the opposite. How did the team react when they finally lost the game?
This is a really resilient team. They've lost games before. So it was obviously a huge disappointment, because we added a couple layers to it. We gave up that Mission Zero. We also lost a game. But we factored in that it was a 25-minute half game, so it was shortened along with the rest of the games that weekend. It was a small tournament style thing. So there was a lot of factors involved.
A few breaks either way, and could have been a different result altogether.
Exactly. So, like I said, it was a learning experience. Oftentimes I say you can learn more through losses than you can through wins. You hope those lessons come earlier in the season rather than later in the playoffs. So not all was lost, even though, of course, we were a little bit disappointed to drop that one.
Yeah, I mean, but, you must have learned a lesson because you came back and you beat Grosse Pointe North and bounced back with a win.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rochester, is, and will be the number 1 team in the state moving forward through the rest of the season, which is highly likely. So again, we felt a different level of competition from them, and it kind of sprung us forward and woke us up a little bit to what else is out there other than what we had seen so far. We did bounce back again with a nice win against Grosse Pointe North, 1-0. And then we actually fell into a little bit of a rut after that, which we're kind of in the moment right now.
A couple of tough teams, Eisenhower and Lake Orion, and you didn't get blown out. It was 2-1, 2-1. It was very close games. Again, talk to those 2 losses there and the way the team reacted especially after that second one to Lake Orion, and just how they're going to try to bounce back here.
Yeah, well, anytime you go against Eisenhower, it's always just going to be a different level of competition. They've perennially been, MAC Red winners, probably 13 or 14 out of the last 20 years, always been a powerhouse. So anytime you go into Eisenhower's place and try to get a win, it's going to take everything you have. Unfortunately, we came out with a loss in that one, but it was a relatively close game, and we did have our chances. But anytime you go against someone like that, it's going to be a toss-up at some point. Both teams are going to walk away with their chances, and it comes down to whoever finishes. Same thing with Lake Orion. It's usually a pretty hostile environment. They got their whole separate soccer field.
I don't even like to fish up there. It's tough up there.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. And one of their head coach is actually one of my mentors when I first got into coaching. So it's always fun to go up there, and they were able to get one over on us last night. Again, we weren't without our chances, but it just didn't roll our way.
Yeah, it didn't roll your way. And then you got coming up, you got a game Monday against L'Anse Creuse North, and then you got a big game Wednesday, and we want to encourage all the folks to get out there and watch it because it may be a MAC Red championship game against Anchor Bay.
Yeah, it's one thing. These girls play club soccer and high school soccer. Club soccer a little bit slower paced as far as the spacing of trainings and games. With high school soccer, for about 3 months, they got to bring a level of intensity every single day, and it's not easy to do every day, especially when you're in the MAC Red or the OAA Red or any other top conference throughout the state. Every game is a bloodbath, and it's you got to get through them and bring the intensity, and one slip up could be the difference between first and fourth place.
I will say this: I've watched many high school soccer games. My cousin was a head coach at Eisenhower back in the 90s, Diane Puglisi, and both her kids, her son played at Grand Valley, but both her kids played. He coached her daughter and stuff. And I've been on the sidelines, and I wouldn't want to get out there against. I mean, these girls are vicious.
Yeah, especially when you factor in the early season and even mid-season weather we're seeing right now. I mean, it's intense in the middle of a rainstorm. We played in the snow a little bit this year. It's there's a lot going on. These girls are tough, and that's the way you need to be. And we couldn't be more proud of them for the toughness that they show.
And then on the 17th and 18th, you've got back-to-back games: Grosse Pointe North, Macomb, Dakota. They're at at Romeo, so that'll help a little bit. And then you're up to Traverse City for something. Can you explain? The excitement of going up there and how that happens?
It's super exciting, and it kind of rolls into our commitment to, our recommitment. We've always been committed to making Romeo soccer a can't-miss experience, but this is just the next step in that. Every year we try to add something to the table to make the girls excited to be here, excited for high school soccer. Mm-hmm. And this year we decided to do a team trip to Traverse City to play both schools up there, Traverse City Central, Traverse City West. Stay the night. The girls are going to be at a huge 24-person Airbnb for them.
Well, I thought they were going to camp. And
they're going to. We found a really cool spot with all the table games, the ping pong, the soccer stuff there. Yeah. It's a huge property, so they're going to have a night of fun to themselves. And we're going to stay away and
how are you going to keep them focused though for the games? It's going to be difficult, man. It's almost going to seem like a vacation away from stuff. But how do you keep them focused?
Yeah, they're pretty used to traveling, spending the night, whether it's in Ohio or Indiana or even further for their club teams. So, there's a little bit of a curfew type thing going on, and just making sure that, they'll be focused. They're used to it, and we trust them to do that. We have great leadership, and the captains and definitely all the seniors, and even the underclassmen are promising leaders as well. So we know they'll handle their business when it comes to that.
How far do you think this team can go?
I'm excited. I keep saying we just want to take it one game at a time. You don't want to overlook anyone by any means. Anything can happen any given day of the week, especially when you factor in funky spring weather. But I'm very hopeful. In 2021, we made some noise in districts and were able to capture the first school district championship. With similar type leadership, and I think as we grow, everyone just keeps getting better, and we come up with new ideas to push us further. And I think this group has the talent to go as far as they want to bring the intensity to go.
Okay. Well, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Yeah.
Let's talk about this group. You've got good senior leadership on this group. And that starts with Kira Amadeo, Isabella Barron, Olivia Kako, Kylie Glaucheski, Mia Hengel, Ava Hill, Isabella Acabelli, Casamina Palazzolo, Ava McMillan, and Olivia Turley. That's a lot of seniors on your team.
It is, and they've been around for a long time. Early at tryouts, we were trying to make a point to everyone across the program, whether it was the freshmen, sophomores, juniors, or seniors. Everybody's got to kind of put in their time, and each one of these girls put in their time on the other teams, the JV-B team, the JV-A team, and made their way up to varsity. So they understand the process, they understand the work that it takes. And I think that's part of the reason that they've all become the leaders that they are, is because they understand the process from start to finish. None of them made the jump from the starting line to the finish line. They all put in the work in between, and I think it helped them all grow as players.
And you're not except for a couple of games, but you're not really 8 goals, 9 goals, 10 goals a game, 5 goals. Mm-hmm. It's mostly a 2-1, a 1-0 type of thing. Is there a score in the senior unit on offense that really stands out to you?
They've all, I think almost all of them have registered on the scoreboard or the assist board at some point this season. And that speaks to the way we play as a as a unit while we're out there. We always say that we don't have defenders or offensive players specifically. When we don't have the ball, everybody on the field is a defender. When we do have the ball, everyone is an attacking player. And because of that, you'll see even our center backs, even our goalkeeper touch the ball as much as some teams' forwards touch the ball. We like to get everybody involved, spread the field out, and then find the splits between, and we're able to do that really well. So everyone's really contributing in all phases of the game right now.
Is there somebody that's maybe taking a leadership role more to the next level? I mean, they say they're all leaders in some respects, but is there one person that maybe, or two people that really the whole team kind of looks up to?
We really rely on our three captains, Eva Hill, Olivia Kako, that Sophia's her sister used to play, and Isabella Barron. We really rely on them to be like the ultimate voice out there, bring everybody together in moments when the game has paused, give their thoughts while they're out there, and they do a really good job of that. You can hear them all three throughout the game. Eva Hill, especially from the back as the goalkeeper, does a really good job shouting forward, telling
she has a
people
big
what
mouth.
To do.
That's what you need.
That's what you need from a goalkeeper.
Okay.
That is one of the number one things you're looking for.
Well, we'll talk to her a little bit later,
Yeah.
or she'll talk to me, I guess.
Yeah.
A little bit later. But you get juniors too. You get promising juniors, as you said, that are coming up, and Addison Ayres and Annalise Frank, Ava Kelly, Addison Kimmick, Jenna LeFew, and Jillian Wilkinson. Which ones stand out there and get a lot of playing time?
So actually, Addison Ayres is a starter on our back line. She's a converted center back. Most of her life, she's kind of been playing center mid forward roles. We had a vacancy at our center back spot, and she stepped up and she's like, "Coach, if you need someone, it can be me." We put her there, and she's been outstanding ever since. Annie Frank has been back there now, starting for 2 years. She's a human missile back there. She's not afraid of anything. She'll go up, head any ball, go up against any player, any size, and usually come out on top. Ava Kelly is a mainstay in the middle of the field, just as good of a defender as you could ask for as well when we don't have the ball. She's always mixing it up. Really works well with Izzy Barron in the middle, creating double team opportunities and just fighting for the ball. Jillian Wilkinson also, starting caliber player as well, who's, she's probably about 6 foot tall, running down the sideline there. She's a hard one to mark. Scored a couple goals this year as well.
Probably has opportunity to get some good headers.
Yeah, absolutely. She's scored a couple, one or two of those this season as well, and we're looking forward to more. But yeah, she's all those juniors have done excellent. Addison Kamik registered her first goal against Lake Orion, free kick, which was really cool to see. And I know she was excited about that.
And then your sophomores, which is going to be your juniors next year, and Claire Carmody, Lydia Hill, Olivia Luther, and Olivia Skomsky,
yep. So actually 2 of those juniors start almost every single game, Claire Carmody and Lydia Hill. Lydia Hill's our leading team scorer right now. So anytime you can get a leading goal scorer out of a sophomore, that's a pretty good foundation to build on. Both really great athletes. Olivia Luther subs in pretty often as well. We're really excited about her, and Olivia Skomsky as well. Both, just anytime a sophomore can crack the starting lineup or get playing time is really promising.
Did your projections at the beginning of the season, did you think you'd be in this spot? Did you pretty much feel that you'd be in this spot?
Yeah, it's fun. It's a funny question because every year we get excited, right? We do this little winter league where the girls sign themselves up to play together in this indoor facility 1 day a week between somewhere between January and March, and they just start to get used to each other a little bit. And we always do really well in that. And we start to get the coaches and I get really excited, like, oh man, we're running through this winter league. It's gonna be good. We really this year wanted to flip that a little bit, not get too excited. I'm passionate about it, so it's hard not to get excited no matter what. I'm an excitable person, but We did really well in the winter. You see that happening. We watch from the stands, and then tryouts come along, and you're like, oh man, we might be for real, but we don't want to again get too far ahead of ourselves. First few games of the season go really, really well. I get a little more excited. We're gonna try to tamper our excitement, but between you and I guess all the people watching that,
well, it isn't just you and I.
Yeah, we're low key pretty darn excited. Yeah,
we have millions of viewers here. Well, hopefully Anchor Bay's not watching.
Yeah, right.
Coach, how long you been doing this?
So again, I've been coaching since 2012. Started off at Dakota for a few years with the JV teams. Moved on to Stevenson boys and Romeo girls at the same time in 2016. Left Stevenson after the 2019 season and been sticking with Romeo ever since. In the fall, I do Lawrence Tech, a girls soccer assistant coach over there.
Okay, very familiar with Lawrence Tech and the engineering program there. Coach, I really appreciate you stopping by and giving us a little more insight into Romeo girls varsity soccer. And we wish you continued success the rest of the year and a MAC Red championship. That's what we wish for you.
I hope so.
So people should get out there, support the Romeo Bulldogs, especially on Wednesday. And the last game is going to be at home against Eisenhower. Usually is a good crowd. So best of luck to you, Coach.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure being here. Appreciate it.
Today, I am joined with Izzy Barron and Olivia Kako from the girls varsity soccer team. Thank you guys so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. So I know you guys are in the middle of your season right now, but we're going to rewind a little bit and talk about your off season. So can you tell me about the off season work that prepares you for the start of the season?
Okay, so during the winter, we do a 9v9 league at a local place, and we kind of just, every weekend we play a different high school as they're also trying to prepare. So it kind of just gives us a time to set our team chemistry and start building the foundation.
Yeah, I think it helps with how we play with each other, learning how each other moves off the ball and communicates, and then you get an idea of what it's going to be like in the future too. So
yeah, of course. So that's run through Romeo, right? Mm-hmm. So aside from Romeo, during the off season, you both play with different programs, I assume, and this happens at the same time?
Yeah, so we play for Sporting Michigan, which is our club team, and we just play. We go tournaments, and we travel down to Indiana a lot and Florida, and that's a higher level of play, I would say. But you take what you learn from there, and then you use it in your high school, and you have a bunch of different clubs. So it's kind of cool coming into high school with different learning styles and putting it together and see how you play. So
yeah, I would agree with that. I'd say your club schedule is a lot, our coach said, is a lot more relaxed. We have a longer period of time play, but less frequency of actual practices and games. But I think it's the difference between high school and our club soccer is that high school you only have a short period of time to try and build that team bond and relationships that make you play so well. So that's why it's such a higher intensity.
Do you see, when you do these club programs, will you go up against girls that you see later on in the season? So you're kind of I remember.
It's fun. It's like a rivalry.
I remember her.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's kind of nice. Mm-hmm. You kind of know what you're getting yourself into
cool.
when you have matchups.
We'll talk to each other and be I remember her from club, or I remember from this team. So you kind of know how they play a little bit, too. Yeah. So you know to watch out for them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, we'll move into the start of the season more, and I guess we'll just start with the fact that obviously it's a team sport. So tell me about the team camaraderie. I see your Instagram reels and everything. It looks like you guys have a lot of fun. So why don't you talk to me about the team?
I think that we get along very well on and off the field. We have a really we're very competitive, but it's a healthy competitive environment to where we are all fighting for a spot, but we're also wanting each other to do better and always work harder too. So I think we motivate each other very well as well. And I think that when you talk to each other on the field, if it comes off as rude or something, you'll be fine off the field. It's just in the moment, the heat of the game, and I think we're very team motivated. So I think everybody has the mindset, whether your role is big on the team or small on the team, everybody recognizes that their role is important to how we can succeed as a team. And I think that's a really big part of why we're so close and why we know that being close as a team is also what helps you win games and build the chemistry and just keep moving forward.
What is the Instagram reel that I see? What do you guys
Word
have
of
like
the
a word
day.
of a
Yeah.
day?
Word of the day.
Are you actually posting a word? I feel like I see it like once a week or
Yeah.
something. Is
Yeah.
this
We
who's developing the word of the day?
So our coach we always do. We pick a person. They choose a word that they think will like describe like the week, like that we focus on. So like if
Okay.
it's passion, like we just love like the love for the game and stuff. Or if it's motivation, like we're like thinking about motivating each other. So we do that, and then we do a little dance or like a celebration after.
So are you all like assigned a week? You're like, this week's gonna be Izzy. She's gonna pick the word, and then is that
Yeah.
how it's going,
It's more
or it's
like
just
it's in the heat of the
random?
moment, because I feel like certain days, like a player will make a comment that like really sticks out, and we're like, oh yeah, like that's totally what we
Yeah.
should be doing, and then it kind of builds off of that.
Yeah.
Well, I love it. I think it's hilarious. So we'll talk about the season a little bit. You guys went the first 9 games this season without letting in any goals. So can you tell me about the defensive strength of the team at that time?
Yeah, so our back line, we kind of had to piece it together. We had to fill a center back role coming off of last year, losing one of our seniors. So we put a junior, Addison Aris, in that spot, and I think it kind of worked from there. Like we kind of had the mindset that we wanted to have a lockdown defense and be a brick wall, I guess. So we kind of all just put our all together and focus on our defensive part of the game, because the way we play is that we build together as a team, so we all defend together as a team. So I think everybody understanding their role and creating the lines of our shape helped keep us at 0 goals against.
Yeah, I think Addison was a very good choice for that position because she's very calm on the ball, and that's a spot where you need to win the ball, but you also need to be able to distribute it calmly, and I think she does it very well. So our defense is very good, but yeah.
Awesome. So in combination with that, the team either won or tied your first 10 games of the season. So what was the confidence like in the room during that time? And was it hard to maintain focus, as you guys were like, we're pretty good,
So I think for me, it kind of came as more of a shock, because I didn't really know going into the season how good we could be. I mean, I knew we had potential, but I wasn't sure if we were going to turn it into something and actually execute. So I think like in the beginning, we kind of had that underdog mentality, because we kind of were doing good and we were like, oh shoot, like we could be something, we could compete with these teams, we can make a difference and be really good this year. So I think when we started going on that high, our season high, we kind of got that, we were up there, we were riding it, and I think towards when we started getting goals against us and stuff, it kind of locked us back in and can wake us up and see like, hey, you can't just be at this high and just sit here and sit pretty. You have to actually keep putting in the work and keep thinking that you have to make yourself something and actually try to work for it.
Yeah, like we weren't used to like getting goals scored on us or anything. So like when it did happen, it was obviously like a very different like vibe. Like in the game, I could feel it a little bit. But now I think that we do know that if we did get scored on, and we're just going to work harder to score first or get the goal first. So
Definitely. And I want to hear a little bit about what each of you do on the team. So I guess we can start with Izzy first.
So I play center mid. I play the 6, which is like a holding. So I'm like kind of in the defense, but I also attack a little bit. My job mainly is to distribute the ball and switch it, and then get it into the next like half, like a third of the game. I just talk a lot. I really just try to tell where my teammates to go, where I want them, But it's a big I would say it's a big leadership role. Like you're really talking a lot. You're deciding where the ball goes next, and she plays outside back.
Yeah,
so.
I would say Izzy's like our anchor. Like she said, she's a big
Okay.
role because she kind of holds that center of the field down. But I play outside back, which is like the most wide person on the back line. And so when she says she switches the ball, it's typically to either me or the other outside back. And so I'm kind of just like the outlet to push us into the attack or to hold us and lock down their center or their wide forward.
Okay. Have you both always played at those? Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Even because we've been playing
On our club
club
team.
for forever, so we already have like a good chemistry with each
We
other.
know when.
I know when I get the ball, it's
Yeah.
gonna most likely go to her next. So
Yeah.
Well, that's fun to have.
Mm-hmm.
It's making sense why you guys are 10 games now. So we will get into a little bit. You guys dropped the last 2 games. What are you looking to adjust for Lands Cruise North tomorrow?
Well, I think that a lot of our mentality kind of is we're trying to change that. Like I think that if we want it more, then all of us need to work hard, not just a couple of us. Like all of us need to. So if that mentality gets changed, I think for sure, no doubt we can win tomorrow. And we need to just push harder in the attack in the beginning instead of like settling in and letting see what they can do. I think we push harder and then get the first goal and then worry about whatever comes after that. So.
Yeah, I think like for us, I think we need to go back to that like underdog mentality. Like we were on that high and then we got too like confident on it and kind of just thought we could mosey along and still do fine. But we have to get back to that mentality that like, hey, we need to make waves in the game and actually do good and show them that we're here and we're not messing around anymore. So, yeah.
Definitely. So I guess we'll get into now more of like the fun personal questions. So what does it mean to you guys to both be captains this year?
All right. So being captain for me, it just means a lot because I take leadership very seriously, and I think all three of us captains have very different styles of leadership as well. And I think that, like, my sophomore year on varsity, I think that the leaders on that team really made the difference for me. And I kind of go back to that and think of, like, how I can make the team closer and make everybody actually want to be here and have that same goal in mind to be successful as a team. And so it's really an honor to get to be in this spot. And I think I carry it with a lot of, I don't know the word, but I carry it with a lot.
It means a lot.
Yes,
too.
it means a lot because I think it's important that our team has a good leadership and that we all, with good leadership, we can work together and actually accomplish our goals for the season.
Yeah, I think that I'm very honored, too, to be captain. I think that our energy affects the whole team's energy. So, like, if you have one of us is down, like, you can tell it affects the rest of us. So we all try to keep a very positive and motivating energy to get the team always motivated. And I mean, I'm captain on my club team too, so I've always kind of played the captain role, and I like really do enjoy it. Like talking to someone if they feel more down, I notice it and trying to help them out. So yeah,
those are really good answers, guys. So if you're thinking about, we could do this season. You can do all your years on the team in general, but you've got a specific game or memory or something.
We have the same memory. We have the same
I love
one.
it.
It's our sophomore year, winning districts.
It was the best feeling ever.
Best feeling ever. We had our seniors grad party right after. We brought the trophy.
Dang.
It was probably the best feeling
awesome.
ever.
I mean,
that's really why I love.
And it really when I kind of knew we actually won the game was when our goalkeeper that year, Emmy Rogers, when she saved a PK.
Yeah.
That sealed the deal for me. I was like, we're doing it. Like, this is our game. And I think it was just really that winning that game and having that awesome memory has kind of just been my motivation for this season because I want to feel that again. That was the best feeling ever.
Was that both of your first years on varsity?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, it was probably the best feeling.
What a start,
right?
It was awesome.
First year of varsity, you're like, one district, like,
and
whatever.
then school got out. It was just such a
It was a
high. It was such a lifetime.
It's a good time, right? Yeah. Alrighty, so we'll wrap up here. And if you could just since you're both seniors, like we said, can I hear what each of your plans are post-graduation?
So I'm going to Ferris State to continue my soccer career. I'm studying biology. Nice. So, yeah, I'm excited.
Perfect.
I'm going to the University of Michigan. I'm not playing soccer there, but I might play club there, and then I'm also studying biochemistry.
Awesome. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm excited to see the last part of your season for you guys. Again, thank you, Izzy Barron and Olivia Cackle, for joining me today.
Thank you so much.
Before we continue, here on the Romeo Sports Recap Show, a word from our sponsors. This podcast is powered by the Mitt TV of Romeo, Michigan. If you're looking to start a podcast for your business or personal use, look no further than the Mitt TV. They can get you access to equipment, a production engineer, and even edit your podcast. That's all right here at the Mitt TV of Romeo. And you can contact them right now via email at mitt.tvromeo@gmail.com. That's mitt.tv@gmail.com. Now, back to the show.
Well, I'm here with goaltender extraordinaire of the Romeo girls varsity soccer team, Eva Hill. Eva, you're one of the captains on this team, but you've got 10 shutouts this year. Are you like Mrs. Zero here? Miss Zero, is that what they call you? What's your nickname?
I don't actually have one. I mean, recently we've gone through a bump in the road, so it's a little bit of a disappointment, but we're ready to bounce back.
What did it feel like when that first goal of the year went in to you? Describe the play, and did you have a chance?
The first goal was when we were at Rochester. It wasn't actually against Rochester, but it was the game before. It was a cross, and she scored a header goal. It was like something I consider like a very good goal. And realistically, like I probably could have cut off the cross earlier, but like there's so many aspects in the game where it's like another girl could have came behind, tapped it in. Like it was an outnumbered situation. There's not really much that like anyone could have done, but I mean, I just consider that like a very good goal and something that.
So it wasn't a cheapie.
No, not like a PK like half the other ones.
Wasn't a cheapie. Okay, all right, and you know the shutouts that you put together. I mean, once you got to like 8, 9, what did you think? I mean, did you think you could maybe go the whole year without scoring?
I took it more of like motivation to think of. I didn't like. It was more or less of like patting myself on the back, because I feel like the more and more I do that, it's the more like I would say like cockier I get. So I take it more as motivation, saying like, how much further can I go? How much further can I go? And I know like all of our backline thinks the exact same way. Like being a goalkeeper, yes, they're my shutouts, but it's not just me. It's a lot more than that. So it's really every single player on the team. Every single player worked to defend that all those games. Everyone drops at the same time. Everybody takes away certain opportunities. There's plenty of times where it's like a one-on-one breakaway, then there's like another defender coming in, slide tackling, winning that ball for me. So yes, it's like I have to put in the work, but there's so many other things in front of me that happens. So it's very appreciative knowing that like everyone's there for me.
And you have developed a style unto yourself. Are you aggressive there? Do you aggressively go for balls? Do you kind of lay back and position yourself? What would you describe your style as?
I'd consider myself more so of an aggressive goalkeeper compared to like what you normally see in high school soccer. In high school soccer, I feel like there's a range of goalies. Like there's like either someone that like you can easily pick them out from a crowd and you can be like, wow, this girl's like solid, she can catch a ball, you're not going to score from 40 yards away, or you're going to be like, oh, like a bouncing ball is going to go in on her. So I feel like if I'm looking at it, if like aggressive or not, I would say definitely more aggressive, but I think that's also because I can trust my back line. Like if I'm coming out to like attack a ball, I know that like I have Annie coming in hard behind me and she'll clear like a slow roller ball that's coming through.
Okay, so aggressive, and as your coach says, you're pretty talkative out there. So what are some of the things that you're saying to everybody?
So me, Izzy, and Liv, the 3 captains of the team, we all play club together. So I'd say all 3 of us always talk to each other on the field. Like whether any of us see one thing, we're talking to each other. If I see something, standing from the back of the net, you can see basically everything that's going on. Like I could pick every single point out that like, oh, if this person would have stepped a little bit harder, they would have won this ball. Oh, that backside net, if somebody was there, somebody could have easily just had the tap in goal. So I feel like being talkative means like it goes from me to Liv to Izzy, me to Izzy to the forwards, me to Izzy to my sister. Like it goes all the way around.
It's into like the old string telephone in the can, and everything's
exactly
connected out there. You're yelling stuff like, she's open.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. What's the mood of the team right now? You guys dropped a couple tough ones, but all in all, what is the mood currently of the team?
I'd say everyone was disappointed in the moment, but I think that disappointment like turned to motivation. I think nobody on our team is like the type of person to give up on anything. So the second we get scored on, everybody has the mentality to grab the ball out of the goal, put it in the middle, let's go, let's score another goal. We will never like give up on each other. We are always there for each other. We will play through everything. We play through injuries, we play through pain, we play through, like it's just how we are. We will never give up. So
you probably play on the lacrosse team if they gave you sticks, you know.
So I'd say like, yes, it's a bump in the road, but it's really just a bump to our great future. So like I feel like everyone has paths. Everyone goes ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs, and we're on a really, really high up, and it's just this smallest little bit of down, but that all that is just like almost like gaining power to go on the next up.
Sort of a bounce.
Yep.
Looking at it as a bounce.
Mm-hmm.
Have you played other sports that helped you be a good goaltender in soccer?
Definitely basketball. It's helped with like my hand-eye coordination, and I feel like basketball is almost like it helps me see things. So on the field, like when I have the ball in my feet, I'm like, I can easily get my eyes up and see like, oh, there's an open player here. But then it's almost like I see things other than like my other defenders see things, because if I see something and I know someone's on their back, I won't play that ball, because in basketball it's the same exact thing, but you can use your hands so you can go out and steal it. So it's basically, it's almost like they counter each other and
or complement each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's pretty interesting. Well, you're pretty tall, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm like 5'7", 5'8".
Yeah, so you can get up there. You have obviously the leaping ability from basketball a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So you can get up there and knock those high shots down and stuff. Tell a little bit about your passions besides soccer.
I'd say like sports is something that's always came, I don't want to say easy to me, but it's something that I've always like found interest in, no matter what it is, even if it's not soccer and basketball. Like it's just it's like it's definitely my strongest passion.
You weren't a spaz out there.
Yeah, it's definitely like my strongest passion. I just like, it's something that's always been just so interesting to me. It doesn't even matter what the sport is. It could be football, it could be lacrosse. It's just like something about like competition. I just am like physical contact competition. Like it just draws attention to me.
Do you, so you watch other sports professionally and amateur sports and things like that? So you're kind of a student of athletics.
Yep, basically.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about other interests besides sports.
Schooling-wise, I am really interested in like the medical field, that type of stuff. So for college, I want to be a pediatrician, so I'm going to go into nursing school. So that's interesting for me.
Do you know where you're going to go?
Yeah, I'm going to go to Detroit Mercy.
Oh, it's a good school. That'll be fun, and it's a lot of work. My daughter just graduated from Oakland with a nursing degree, so I know how much work she put in, but she has a passion for it, and hopefully you have a passion for it. So how do you think the team's going to fare this year? How far can you guys go?
I think we can go as far as we want to. We all have the mindset that we're not going to give up no matter what, no matter how many bumps are in the road, but we're just going to bounce back from it and keep climbing.
Well, Ava, I appreciate you stopping by and chat with us and give us a little more insight on the Romeo varsity soccer team and Ava Hill. So back again here on the Romeo Sports Recap with Madison Janabet and myself, Tim Meyer. And we're going to talk a little bit about some of the other sports in Romeo, kind of give us a little update on what's going on with the other sports besides girls varsity soccer.
For sure. So we'll start with baseball. The varsity baseball team's most recent game was Friday at Grosse Pointe South, where the team ended up tying Grosse Pointe South 5-5.
Well, Grosse Pointe South is a pretty strong team. They're traditionally a strong baseball school, so that's good.
Yeah, and playing at their turf does not make it easier.
No, that's true.
That brings the boys to a 7-6-1 overall record, and their next matchup is going to be tomorrow, Monday, against Dakota at home.
Well, at least they got them at home, so it's a MAC rival, and they'll have them at home. So you folks want to get out there, maybe catch that game. Maybe I'll do that one. I'll get maybe I could do that one, and then
You're committing to too many things, Tim.
I know. There's only one of me. There's a lot of me, but there's only one.
All right, so we did have the girls team varsity soccer on the show today, but their most recent game was Friday at Lake Orion, where they unfortunately lost a close battle. 1-2 is the final score.
Did they seem like mad to you? Like they were like mad to talk about that.
They were a little hurt overall to talk about their losses.
Yeah, I mean they were.
They had a good start, so I get it.
I mean, if you started talking to them on the street about it and their losses, I think they probably kicked my butt.
Beat you up.
And they would.
But that loss brought the girls to a 7-3-4 overall record, and their next matchup is also tomorrow, Monday, against L'Anse Creuse North at home.
Yeah, maybe that.
That's your other commitment.
That anger can fuel a victory, right?
Hopefully.
Is that my other commitment?
That's your other commitment.
I got to get an agent. That's it.
Keep track of your schedule.
Yes.
Then we got the varsity lacrosse team. Their most recent game was Saturday at Clarkson, where they unfortunately couldn't pull out the win, losing 6-19. That brings their overall record to 8-7.
Barely over 500. Yeah, they had such promise in that. I think there's a few guys banged up on that team, and you can tell a little bit, but.
Yeah, I think Coach mentioned when they were in here, concussion protocol was for some of them, and I do agree with you. I think that's hurting the team. Yeah,
that and just getting everybody together to play with it isn't injured, and build that cohesiveness that you need. But at least it's a winning record, and hopefully they can spell out the season with the rest of the year with the winning record.
For sure. And then we've got the varsity softball team, whose most recent matchup was the Michigan Stars tournament they had this past weekend.
Michigan
Yeah.
Stars
So they
tournament.
played a total of 3 games there, and they won 2 of them against Allen Park and Clarkston. So that brought the girls to an overall record of 6-4.
Okay, well they're also above
Yep.
500, so they got a winning record. And that's good.
They've got a lot of games left in the season.
Yeah,
So
that's one of the things we're talking about. Maybe having them on next if we can get them on here. Have a few games under their belt. But the weather's getting nicer. It's not going to get rained out. And
Yep.
the tarp will be off the field, and they'd be able to play ball.
For sure. But if you want to check out the team, their next game is Tuesday at Eisenhower.
I'll speak to my agent.
Yep, we'll add that one on the list.
Okay.
And then finally, we got the girls varsity tennis team. Their most recent game was Wednesday at Port Huron, where the girls faced tough competition and lost 3-5. That brings their overall record to 7-4 on the season.
Ooh, well, that's not too bad.
Yeah,
Right?
Port Huron is a longtime rival of the Romeo tennis team. Don't know how familiar you are with that, but
Well, how's your sister doing? Is she doing better?
Port Huron was a tough matchup, we'll say. They did play Grosse Pointe South, and it was the first time in Romeo team history that we beat Grosse Pointe South.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
kudos to them and the tennis team. Do you envision them being successful the rest of the year?
I think they will. I think they will finish with a winning record. I don't know if states is a possibility this year.
Okay.
The team made it to states the past 2 years, but had a lot of seniors that graduated, so I'm not sure if they're quite there yet.
Well, there you have it, folks. The Romeo Sports Recap update for you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in to this episode of the Romeo Sports Recap Show, powered by the Mitt TV. Remember, this show is available on both YouTube and Spotify. You can subscribe to the Mitt TV YouTube page and click the notification bell to stay up to date on the latest episodes of the Romeo Sports Recap. Or you can find us on Spotify and follow our podcast, Romeo Sports Recap. From the Mitt TV, I'm Tim Meyer here with Madison Janabet, signing off with a final word from our sponsors. This podcast is powered by the Mitt TV of Romeo, Michigan. If you're looking to start a podcast for your business or personal use, look no further than the Mitt TV. They can get you access to equipment, a production engineer, and even edit your podcast. That's all right here at the Mitt TV of Romeo. And you can contact them right now via email at mitt.tvromeo@gmail.com. That's mitt.tv@gmail.com.